Please allow me first to pull up the document. Here we go. And note, this is by Janina Teodoro. She is not with us right now. Pope Leo XIII famously stated that society is rooted in marriage, an institution that serves as the foundation for families and, by extension, civilization. The family unit born from marriage passes down values, culture, and social norms essential for the continuity of society. When I broke my marriage, I disrupted this fundamental link, a deviation from the traditional path that brings stability and cultural continuity to both families and the wider community. This decision profoundly affected not only me, but also my children, our little domestic church. As I reflect on my actions, I feel deep regret for the ripple effects that they had on my family. My children, now adults, still carry emotional scars from the breakdown of our family, scars that manifest in their hesitation to marry or start their own families. The youngest especially struggled without the guidance or emotional support of her father, which left lasting wounds. Witnessing their pain has been one of the hardest experiences of my life. From the moment I left their father, my children harbored anger towards me. Despite my efforts to explain my reasons and make peace with them, there is still lingering hurt to this day, and we are constantly working to resolve these deep-seated issues. Occasionally, these feelings resurface, reminding us all of the unresolved emotional trauma we are still grappling with. Some of my children also developed emotional problems, particularly with handling anger. This emotional turmoil manifested in depression and in some cases struggles with alcohol and substance abuse. Even I, years after the divorce, am haunted by recurring dreams where I am still married to my ex-husband, which signals the regret I feel for the decisions I made regarding my marriage. The separation not only affected my children, but also my own sense of identity and security. One of the most heartbreaking consequences has been my children's reluctance to marry or start their own families. They seem to fear that their marriages, like mine, won't last. The emotional scars of our family's breakup have cast a shadow over their views on relationships, and this hesitancy has added to my burden of guilt. My children's school performance also suffered greatly as they struggled to cope with their emotional pain, which manifested in declining grades and an overall disengagement from their studies. Their spiritual lives were also deeply affected. The divorce shattered their faith in the Catholic Church, and some have since drifted away from the faith entirely. Losing their trust in the institution of marriage was painful enough, but watching them lose their spiritual foundation compounded my feelings of regret and sorrow. Miller's research in Primal Loss, the now adult children of divorce speak, highlights how children of divorce, even those from so-called good divorces, often experience feelings of isolation, confusion, and anxiety. One respondent described the tension of navigating parental relationships, feeling torn between parents as at something as simple as a sporting event. This constant balancing act, wondering which parent to hug first, who to sit with, or how to avoid offending one parent while seeking affection from another, exemplifies the anxiety these children face. In my case, I witnessed similar struggles in my own children. They grew up without diverse role models, experiencing only my parenting style. There was no balanced emotional support, no second parent to provide guidance or discipline. My youngest, in particular, became insecure and constantly sought my presence for comfort, especially at night. The absence of a father figure left a void that affected her emotional development. Research underscores the importance of both parents in a child's life. Fathers and mothers typically offer complementary roles. Fathers often foster independence and resilience, while mothers provide nurturing and emotional support. These diverse approaches help children develop a well-rounded sense of self, preparing them for life's challenges. When this balance is disrupted, as it was for my children, the effects can be profound. Apart from my children's struggles, I too suffered financially, emotionally, and psychologically. The divorce left me in a precarious financial situation. trying to navigate life without the stability and partnership I once had. My ex-husband's remarriage and the creation of his new family was another source of deep pain. Watching him move on while we were still picking up the pieces was one of the most difficult aspects of the divorce. None of us emerged from the situation unscathed. Miller's primal loss reveals that society often downplays the trauma of divorce, emphasizing the notion of a healthy co-parenting relationship and encouraging those affected to move on. Social media is filled with images of happy, blended families, reinforcing the idea that divorce is not only acceptable, but can be a positive experience. Yet, as Miller's respondents and my own children illustrate, the emotional toll is far more complex and lasting. This societal narrative, which promotes divorce as a necessary solution, often silences the voices of those who suffer most. The children, as Miller points out, even faithful Catholics who staunchly defend church teachings on issues like abortion or same sex marriage sometimes struggle to confront the harm caused by divorce. Divorce has become so normalized that even discussing its long term effects on children is met with resistance. Children are often the silent victims of divorce. They experience an internal conflict between loyalty to their parents and the unspoken pain that divorce causes. As a mother, I too struggled after the divorce, emotionally, financially, and psychologically. Without a partner to share the burdens of raising my children, I felt isolated and overwhelmed. My psychological wounds, like those of my children, remain to this day. The church teaches that divorce is immoral because it disrupts the family unit, causing grave harm to children and contributing to the disorder of society. The trauma inflicted on children of divorce is not something they simply get over. As Miller's book and my own experience demonstrates, these wounds often last a lifetime, influencing their relationships, emotional health, and even their decisions about starting families of their own. We must acknowledge the lasting effects of divorce and listen to those who have been hurt by it, especially the children. Only by doing so can we begin to address the social disorder caused by the dissolution of families and work toward healing the wounds that divorce leaves behind. Thank you.